Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. My name is David Carson. I'm also a therapist. I work with integral eye movement therapy, hypnotherapy, and neuro-linguistic programming. If you want to check me out, you can check me out there on www.freetheminduk.co.uk. So in a moment, I'm going to introduce my guest for tonight, which is Kate May. And some of you might know Kate. She's co-hosted on this chat show in the past. So I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting. Before we introduce Kate, we're going to play the intro video. Here we go.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents A Chat with a Therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Welcome, Kate. Welcome to Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. It's great to have you on tonight.
Great to be on, Dave. Thank
probably
you.
a bit weird for you to be on this side of things rather than co-hosting. So
yes, I wonder if I might get a grilling.
Quite excited to hear all about what you do and how you started and everything. So maybe to begin with, you can give us all a bit of an overview on how you got into all this sort of work you do, helping people. So tell us a little bit about your story, Kate.
Yes, well, back in 2004, big trauma in my life, and I turned to alcohol. I was always a bit of a party girl anyway, so it was just like, it's all right, I can control it, but I couldn't. And I would, stop at the shop on the way home, 3 bottles of wine, go in, lock the door, feed my son, and then I'd start on it. And it just escalated into 3 bottles of wine a day, more and more added to that, like spirits and stuff. And then I tried cocaine and I loved that. And I ended up in a rehab. So, so it was suggested to me that I went to college to do counselling level 2. It's a really good course to do if you've been through a traumatic experience, just to get to know stuff about how the mind works, theories, that sort of stuff. And once I'd done that, I thought, oh, this is great. This is really helping me and everybody around me. So I then went on to level 3, and then I thought, you know what? I'm not sure I really want to do this. What do I want to do? And I'm very spiritual, and I'm one of those spiritual people. So I thought, right, I'll tell you what, I love coaching people as well. Let's do a bit of that.
Wow.
So I went on to do coaching, and I dabbled in a bit of NLP, just the foundations of it. And then I just got hungrier and hungrier. So I did a holistic counselling course because I just thought, I'll just get a bit of the spiritual stuff in there. And then I thought, right, that's it. I'm not doing any more. I'm not doing any more at all. But it's never the case in this line of work. Absolutely. Because you just want to keep finding out how you can help people. So then I've moved on to NLP, did the practitioner, the master, time-based techniques, clinical hypnosis. And then, of course, very much like you, did the integral eye movement therapy course, which is fantastic. All the other modalities, So that's me, and that's why I got into it.
Wow, that's incredible, Kate. Incredible. So in that process of doing the courses, how did that? I mean, what was the time span? How you managed to overcome your addictions that you had at that time. Did it really help with that, or?
It did, and those therapies still help me now. You know, even the sessions I have with clients help me. You know, because in recovery from addiction, it is an ongoing journey. But I mean, life is an ongoing journey. So
Absolutely.
you know, it doesn't matter if you've had no addiction issues or whatever. This sort of line of work is just a journey, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I've been clean now for it's about 10.5 years.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, it's ongoing. It's every day is a clean day. Get through the day. It's not so much, you know, it hasn't been a battle for a long time because of all the therapists that I use, and all the therapists I know as well, because, you know, going on all the courses, you've just got such a choice of therapists if you actually need a little helping hand yourself.
Absolutely. And I find a lot of these courses, you get to do quite a bit of work on yourself during the courses, don't you? So you're constantly, you know, working on yourself. And I think you probably agree it's important that therapists have, you know, have some form of therapy, so they're not guiding the session in the wrong way according to their, you know, their issues as such.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible to do that, you know.
It is. No,
It is. You have to have that awareness, don't you, all the time? And if you think you're going in that direction, then you're like, crikey, I better have a chat with my coach or therapist, because yeah, we do need that support too. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's surprising actually how many courses I've been on, and sort of being aware of people, and that, you know, they've let go of a lot of stuff. It's it's really, really cool. So the holistic counseling you do, is that when you were talking earlier, when you were talking about how you got to where you are now, is that the spiritual sort of what is it? What's it about, holistic counseling?
Well, it's sort of looking more, it's not so much asking lots of questions, you know.
Okay.
We're having more of a conversation. And then what happens is I find that and then I can ask that person, you know, are you spiritual? Are you, you know, do you believe in a God? You know, there's a bit more of a conversation going than
I see.
Yeah.
So you get to sort of know them a bit more, so you can sort of maybe work your sessions around that information as such, as though.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, of course, you know, I found that when I was working with just one modality, so say I was just working with the counseling side of things, that there was so much more to help the client discover, you know, to help the client work through. So I needed more then. And so that's where the NLP came in. That's a fantastic way to you know, to use that too. And the coaching, when I work with the client, it's a mixture of everything.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, which I'm sure you know that one with all your modalities as well.
Bits and bobs I do. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, you know, that spiritual aspect as well sort of helps a fair bit, you know, and what you were talking about earlier on, you know, explaining to people how they get to a point where they're high in anxiety, you know, the processes that take place to actually bring you to that point where you have to do something about it, otherwise you just, you know, it's going to get too much.
Especially with anxiety, because, you know, we feel that anxiety in our bodies, you know, and we start getting panicky, we get sweaty, and, you know, your whole body, you know, some people start shaking and you can't breathe properly. And the more you don't do anything about that sort of thing, the more stress you put on your body and your mind. So you will, you know, there is a possibility that there'll be more mental health issue, you know, a mental health issue that comes on, like depression or,
Yeah.
You know, for example, and of course the stress on your body physically.
Yeah, I was going to say the physical aspects of it as well. You know, things like eczema, rashes, and
Yeah. And I do believe that the more stress, you know, the emotions that we don't deal with, all that sort of stuff, gets trapped as energy in our body, and it's
yeah.
negative energy.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
hence we go on to all sorts of illnesses.
Yeah, I often read people saying that all illnesses have an emotional basis,
Yeah.
negative emotional basis, I
Yeah.
guess.
I do believe that. Yeah.
Mm. So what do you think about in the US? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite common for people to say, "Oh, I'm going to go and see my therapist next week." It might be a bit of a generalization, but I get that feeling it's very sort of accepted out there. And in the UK, whether it's that sort of British stiff upper lip thing where no, I can deal this on my own, or the embarrassment of possibly the embarrassment of going to see a therapist.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think as Brits are embarrassed, there's a lot more shame and you know, I remember going back to, you know, the point where I needed, like, people in America seem to go, yeah, I went to rehab. Yeah, I saw my therapist. Yeah, I did this, I did that. Sorry to any Americans out there if my accent isn't very good. And I'm not judging Americans or anything, but yeah, they do sort of seem to sort of say that and no problem. But in the UK, yeah, it does seem to be that we are sort of almost ashamed and disgusted with ourselves. I know for me, when I wasn't well with my addiction, and I started to get depressed over it as well, and I was physically very ill, I was ashamed and disgusted with myself. I didn't want to go and say to somebody, I've got a problem with alcohol and cocaine.
Of course.
Visibly, I think most people knew I had a problem, but I didn't want to do that. And I went to the doctors with a stomach that looked like I was 6 months pregnant, and I wasn't. That was the alcohol. And the doctor said to me, "You're an alcoholic, aren't you?" And then I just burst into tears, you know. So I would have loved to have been able to say, "Oh, I need to go and see a therapist," and just accept it and just go. But yeah, we seem to not be able to do that here.
It takes a lot of courage as well to admit to yourself as well, I guess, that you do have a problem.
Yeah.
And in your case, when you went to the doctors, that when you said you burst into tears, it was probably that moment where you did you is that soon after that, is that when you really started to work on it? Or
no, it took another couple of years.
Did it really?
Yeah, and many hospital visits, and yeah, I was really bad. But and I even had severe liver cirrhosis, but it still didn't stop me. Didn't stop me. I think when it comes to addiction, there's a little switch that goes off, and it's like, right, I need help now. And I think that's the same with things like anxiety, stress, depression, stop smoking, all that sort of stuff. We suddenly go, like, now's the time. I need to go and get some help now. And sometimes, like I had a client today. He had a problem with anxiety, and she thought it stemmed from a particular moment in her life, a particular trauma. And actually, when I did some eye movement therapy with her, nothing was budging. I was like, oh no, what can I do now? That's the first time I haven't got a result with it.
Being there, got the t-shirt. It's interesting.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So then I was like, stop a moment and just feel that energy with that client. Yeah. And so I went to time-based techniques, and actually that situation she thought had stemmed the issue wasn't it at all. It was something from childhood trauma. So it's a funny old thing, isn't it?
It's interesting as well, because a lot of this stuff does stem from childhood, doesn't it? Because we're so impressionable from that 0 to 7 years of age.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we're in theta, like when you're in hypnosis. So you're basically absorbing
Absorbing.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is just so true. And those are the crucial years, aren't they? We need to be very careful what we say in front of our children, what they're, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people with a lack of, how can I say it, education in that respect. And, they probably, I'm sure there's a lot of parents that don't, say things in front of the kids. They don't realize what they're saying can have some sort of, effect on them long term, especially if the parents relationships not going very well and stuff like that. And
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 then,
even
of course, in the childhood, those early childhood days and throughout growing up even older, we are always picking up other people's beliefs and values as we move along. And of course, we've got our unconscious mind, which is like that computer that stores all these programs, and those values and beliefs get filed away in there, and they don't belong to us.
No, absolutely.
And so in our work, there's where we go in and change the programs.
Indeed. It's a great analogy, actually, the analogy of the computer, because that's pretty much what we are, really. Information in, information out. And that idea that there's so many people walking about in automatic behavior, and they have no idea. They have no idea, because I always like to say our conscious awareness is only the tip of everything, even though it seems like we run the show. That our unconscious subconscious runs the show, I'm guessing. And I see that as one of the biggest flaws of our design. Even though we're so incredibly complex, especially our brains and everything. It's interesting that we whether it's been educated out of us at some point, but I would have thought, with us being so complex, that we would be able to connect more with our unconscious and subconscious. And I know we can. There's certain techniques that you can do where you can. I know Bob Burns, Mr. Burns, is it? Who does the swan technique? Bob Burns. Where he can actually communicate with his subconscious, doing what he calls the self swan. So all these techniques have come along over the years, like EFT and TFT, which I suppose give us an opportunity to start doing some work on ourselves.
And I think one of the easiest ways that anybody can start doing work on themselves is to meditate. And I know a lot of people and a lot of clients that come into me, I will always ask them, what do they do for self-care? And I want my clients to always have 3 things that they do for themselves every day. Obviously not the same things, because we're not robots, but pick 3 things that, you can do that will better your life every day, even if it's 5 minutes. And a client I had the other week said, I said, do you meditate? She said, no, I don't tell me you haven't got time. She said, yeah, I don't have the time for that. Well, there is an app that I make sure all my clients download called Simple Habit. And on there is literally 5 minutes of meditation. There's the starter plan. And it is amazing how just with 5 minutes listening to somebody else's voice, you can switch off, revitalize, just get in touch with yourself again,
Absolutely. And it's great to actually focus on somebody's voice, because when you're in quietness, a lot of people will have the thoughts coming into their brain, which is perfectly normal and natural. And I think this is where a lot of people give up on meditation, because they think that they're not supposed to have, it's supposed to be a still mind, but it's not.
Yeah.
You just got to let those things just wash over you. And obviously, though, when you're doing meditation, the fact that those things are coming into your mind are coming into your mind for a reason, because you've stilled your body. And I see it as the mind's way of getting you to maybe look at certain things, whatever thoughts they are, possibly. I know some of them are just mundane things, but it's funny because I had Sabrina Thompson on a few weeks ago, who does tailored meditation, and it was really interesting. I had a session with her, and it was a really interesting session in the sense that I was during this meditation that she guided me through, I realized that I connected with my physical body in a way I'd never connected with it before. And it was a real eye-opener, because when I'm normally meditating, I'm not really connected with my body. It's like it's all up here, if you like. You know what I mean? So it was a real eye-opener, to the point where I could feel me, when you blink, I could feel all the movements. I could feel the weight of my feet on the floor, my body in the chair. And I think the body gets forgotten about a lot,
I think that's why the guided meditations are great.
Yes.
Or even if you just go on YouTube and find yourself relaxation meditation, and somebody will take you through the whole of your body and get your whole body to relax. And of course, when your body's relaxed, the mind relaxes even more.
Absolutely. And it's scientifically proven to be really good for your body and your mind, isn't it? So it's definitely worth doing.
I think as well, sometimes people, that we're also individual. For some people, sitting for 5 minutes is not, something they want to do.
Yeah.
For others, 30 minutes is fine. Some people can do it for longer.
Yeah.
I'm one of those 5-minute people. I'll do 5 minutes and that's about it. I've got other things to be doing, but I ensure that 5 minutes is spent well. And sometimes I'll just go for a walk and find somewhere to sit there for a couple of minutes, and just, that's just as good in my eyes.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because this is what Sabrina was talking about when she was on about the meditation. Meditation is not just sitting somewhere quietly with yourself, or even a guided meditation. It could be, for instance, I told her I enjoy playing table tennis, and she said, well, that can be a meditation. So you totally immerse yourself in all the movements. Going for a walk, like basically anything can be a meditation. So I that was like quite interesting, because I didn't really think about it like that before, and it sort of opened my mind up a bit more to it. So and I'm guessing if you could make your table tennis a meditation, you probably play better. I'm going to try it in the morning, because I'm playing in the morning.
I'm sure if you put the focus on the game, then that is, isn't it? That is. It's you put your blinkers on and just
absolutely. Because there's a particular movement, funny enough, that I have to do with the shoulder. Now I know the movement, I know exactly what I've got to do, but amongst the game, when the game's playing, my there's a disconnect. So my body, I forget to do this movement, and I keep doing the movement that makes the ball go where I don't want it to go. So and again, it's all practice, isn't it? Like with meditation, it's the more you do it, the easier it will become, and the more beneficial, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, keep at it. Keep at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you with your clients, do you ever? Because I know some people, like I've never studied nutrition or anything like that, but I'm guessing that is also quite important for people as well, isn't it? As well as going to see someone for anxieties. Also, eating the wrong type of foods and the wrong diet can also contribute to situations as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I tend to do is look at every area, of the wheel of life, so to speak, and more. I try and dig in quite deep. Because often you'll find that there's quite a few things that aren't sinking. And so yes, it's not just nutrition and sleep, it's your relationships, it's work, it's your friends, where you go, and are you socializing, what's in your diary, absolutely everything.
They say, don't they, Kate, you are what you read, who you associate with. So yes, it's a good point, actually, to get that, that fuller information with a client, so you can get a really good picture.
And I find this time of year, like the summer's gone now, I don't know whether you find this, but in the summer I tend not to have a load of clients. But as soon as autumn comes, when no one's really, the sun's not really out, it's not warm, there's no Barbies, there's no holidays, there's not a lot to look forward to, apart from if you've got kids with Halloween and bonfire night. Literally, when you're an adult, you go, oh, Christmas. But of course, Christmas isn't like it was when we were children.
It's its own stress, doesn't it? But you're right. It's like, I mean, we live in a beautiful country in the sense of, the greenery we have and everything. But sometimes those grey skies and stuff can make you feel a bit miserable. And I see what you're saying.
And there's nothing really much to look forward to. So the key is to ensure that there's always something in your diary to look forward to. Whether it's going to see a band at your local town hall, round to your mates, invite your mates round. Maybe you're just going for a meal or something, or you
join some clubs.
Join some clubs. Yes, but there is that too, isn't there? Even if it's a walking club or a yoga club or a spin club, absolutely anything, or a shopping trip with your mate to a different town on the train, if there's not a strike. Anything. It's just always have something to look forward to.
I mean, I guess if you look at it, like some people, I mean, a lot of people don't enjoy their jobs. It's like it's a chore. They have to do it because they need to make the money so they can pay for their bills. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that really would rather be doing something else, but feel a bit trapped and stuff. So I'm guessing if you go into a workplace for like 8-10 hours a day, that brings its own stress and worries, and it's good to because most people might go home and have their dinner and put the telly on all night or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
And that's it. You can't sit in your garden in this weather, can you? You can, but you have to wrap up warm. So this time of year is the time of year where I always see my diary getting fuller now with people. It's such a shame, really, because it's just that time of year, and there's so much that everybody can do to help themselves this time of year.
No, definitely. Do you I'm assuming I mean, like with my clients, I will teach them like emotional freedom technique, a really easy technique that they can use going forward. If they feel a bit down, they can do a bit of tapping, and use it as a tool for going forward, because inevitably when a client comes to see you and you help them with the particular problem, it's no guarantee that they're not going to have more situations in their life, so it's good to I mean, do you do something like that with your clients? Do you give them tools that they can use going forward? Or
absolutely. And there's normally a lot of tools, so often I will have to message them with the list. I try not to overpower them, But the thing is, I believe that if I can send them home with a couple of tools at least, or a couple of things that they can at least do, implement consistently, as long as they take the action, things will get better. But they need, when you come to see a therapist, got to realize you are going to have to do stuff for yourself. We can't, we can help. We can get to the root of the problem. We can give you the tools, but you have to take action. You have to implement them. You've got to be accountable.
You've hit it nail on the head there. Actually, that's so important. Taking responsibility. I did a TikTok video the other day about what they talk about in EMT on the course notes about cause and effect. A lot of people are in effect, so they're blaming things outside of their life for the way they are. But at some point, you have to take responsibility for whatever's happening out there. You can't keep blaming that, because you got to sort it out yourself. Take responsibility and sort it, and that's why I sort of hit a nail there. And I just, at this point now, I'd just like to say to everyone that Kate does have a TikTok channel, and on that channel, there's some great informational videos, different techniques, different ways of dealing with stress and anxiety, amongst other things. And I'm going to put a channel up here. So if you get a chance, check out Kate May 71, her TikTok channel, because there's some really, really good info on there. And that's growing as well, Kate. And it's really good.
Yeah. And thanks for giving me a shout out from your TikTok channel, Dave. That was great. I was like, oh, wow, thank you. And then I went up about 50 followers. I was like, oh, what a start. I'll have to do the same for you as well.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I mean, like my channel, I do obviously little videos on, self-help and stuff. But I also do some, some other stuff as well. Just try and mix it up a little bit. Yeah, silly stuff.
If anybody wants to be uplifted, they need to go on your channel. If you've got problems, come and listen to my stuff. Dave's got some good stuff too.
Yeah. I'm thinking about changing my name to Mr. Joyful, because it's like...
Oh, you are! Every time I see you, I'm like, oh, Dave, brilliant!
It's funny, when I listen to my own... Because sometimes when you're on your own TikTok channel, and it's like, hey, it's Dave! And it's like, I'm like, shut up, David, because you
but it's great. You've got a nice lot of followers too. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I was on Facebook all the time for years and years and years. But I'm better doing videos. I can stick them all over Facebook, but TikTok's the channel, isn't it?
It really is. And I was going to say, Kate, predominantly, trying to get myself angled on the camera right, predominantly, it's young people on there, and they're the future, the future generations or whatever. So to have those sort of videos out there, and there's a lot of people doing it now,
absolutely.
It's great, because I've had quite a lot of young people, like 13, 14-year-old boys and girls, whatever, watch and leave a comment saying, that's very interesting. I actually worry about my future, what I'm going to be doing, with the state of the world and everything, because I think without trying to be, pessimistic, in a way, I'm quite pleased I was born in the era that I was born, because I do sort of emphasize with the youngsters now of, potentially what it's going to be like going forward, things like just having your own place to live, all these things are going to bring their own sort of stresses to people, aren't they? Because there's so many young people now of like 25 years of age still living with the parents, whereas in our day, we might be, buying our own houses and stuff like that. So
yeah.
and you know, and in the workforce as well with jobs. I can actually see, you know, in the next 10, 15 years, there's going to be bloody robots doing most of the work, you know.
Mad, isn't it? It's
So
crazy.
and there's a lot of stress on them. So I
Yeah.
think, you know, it's important.
Especially, you know, with what's going on in the world. I mean, turning the news on these days is, I hardly ever do it because
good for you.
I'm just so negative, and it's awful seeing what's going on. There's floods or hurricanes or war or COVID, taxes, the pound going down, all sorts of stuff. And these youngsters must think, what is this? You know, well, they don't know any different, do they? It's awful.
No, absolutely. I mean, I haven't got a TV personally. I gave it up a couple of years ago. I watched Netflix, to be fair, but I wouldn't know what shows are on the TV nowadays. I think I just got a bit dismayed with the bullshit as well that is put on the TV.
Yeah.
You know, without being, you know, a conspiracy theorist, it's you know, there's a lot of narratives out there that might not be. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, there's too much influencing out there, and
exactly what I was trying to say, Kate.
Yeah, too much influencing, and there's just so much lies, so many lies and false. Oh God, yeah. And that's why I don't watch it. And if I watch the news, it lowers my mood. So one thing I do always say this to my client: do you watch the news in the morning? And if they go, yeah, so stop.
You gotta cut that out.
I mean, stop watching it. How does it make you feel? Oh, I feel a bit, you know, pissed off once I've watched that. And I go, well, why'd you do that to yourself?
Absolutely. It makes you, you know, it's depressing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I wake up in the morning, like I like to start the day off with a bit of gratitude, you know. Oh, I'm still breathing. Thank you so much. You know?
I know. Right.
You know, and even something, you know, it's so important to start your day in the right way. Even I remember watching a YouTube video of some guy who's talking about the importance of making your bed. You know, it's one of the first things you do.
Yes.
You know, it's I definitely wouldn't want to be watching the news. Pardon?
The American military.
That was the guy. Yeah. And probably people watching this one will probably.
Yeah. I remember writing a post about it once, and somebody said something like, she was a troll person, you know, on Facebook. Yeah. She was like, yeah, well, you shouldn't make your bed, you know, first thing in the morning. What you got to do is let it air first and open the windows. I
love it.
No. Show yourself you can do all that as well, but the first bit of self-respect in the morning is that gratitude. I've got another day, amazing, I'm breathing. And the second one is make your bed. Oh, and actually don't keep pushing the snooze button.
Yes,
snoozing is not proven. It is now proven, I think it was, it doesn't actually, you know, give you any more sleep.
I've got to be honest, I did it this morning, Kate. I'm guilty.
Dave, stop
I used to wake up and I'd go, it's going to be a fantastic day, you know, and I like actually shout it out. And the guy who lives in the house with me would say to me, Dave, what are you doing in the morning? You can hear you screaming in your bedroom. But it's so important because, like, that's the beginning of the day.
Absolutely. You know? And you don't want to miss it. You know, get yourself up, get yourself out there. Don't watch the news. Have your breakfast. If you haven't got time to have breakfast, when you're in the car or you're on the bus or whatever it is, or when you walk in, grab a couple of bananas.
Absolutely. And avoid the negative people, you know?
Yes.
You know, because they bring you down there. They can be just as probably worse than the news. There's nothing worse as when you're with somebody and they're just complaining about everything and anything. And I think they call them some people call them vampires, don't they? You know, they're
Yeah.
just draining you of your energy. And you know what? The saddest thing about it is that they don't really truly realize what they're doing. They're in their own little circular behavior, which isn't probably serving them. And it's that automatic thing again. And you just want to shake them and go, look, listen to yourself. You know, I'm going to record you for half an hour.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, if you stick with listening to that sort of person on a regular basis, you will become that person.
Absolutely.
You know, and before you know it, you've gone, haven't you? You've gone to, you're a vampire yourself.
Yeah. And these things we're talking about, these are little simple things we can do to actually, you know, bat off anxiety and stresses, isn't it? You know, things that are absolutely free, don't cost you anything. You know, like getting prepared in the morning, avoiding the news like the plague. I mean, I'm always going to find out what. In fact, to be honest, I often say there's not a lot I can do if something's happening, you know, like in another country. The only thing I can do is be the best version of myself every day. And that reflection on others is what I can do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it. Like, so. Yeah. I mean, if I'm in Tesco's, the lady in Tesco's, she'll go, oh, hi, how are you? And I go, I'm amazing. You wouldn't believe it. And they're like, there's a look of shock on their face. And I love it. But I'm absolutely serious, you know. So they're getting used to me now. But that's the way I am. You know, it's like just Mr. Joyful, Kate.
Positive. I know that's the thing. Some people have said to me over the years, how come you're so positive? You know, because when you work on yourself and you have gratitude and you've got the right support system and you're eating healthy and you're exercising and you're doing all the good stuff, which actually doesn't take up all of your day.
Absolutely.
You can make time for it if you really want it. You will be that happy, positive person.
The thing is that you begin to like yourself. When you begin to like yourself, your energy changes completely and you become more joyful.
Yeah, Mr. Joyful. And then you start to love who you are.
Exactly.
Not love yourself in that way. You go, oh, I'm absolutely gorgeous. But
no,
just,
absolutely. Which I am, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But
to say.
You're going off camera. But yeah, no, there's so much in that. You know, like that's what it does to you. And when you're in that state, there's not a lot can bother you, you know.
That's the thing.
Life can throw most things at you. When you're in that place of loving yourself or appreciating yourself, you know, everything goes through the ceiling. Your confidence, your positivity, you know, your joyfulness. It's really good. So you know, people watching now, you know, it's so worth you know, doing these steps to work on yourself because it's worth it in the end. It really is. Because there's nothing.
The therapists and the coaches and stuff, we're here to listen, to help move you away from the problems that you've got, to help you be the bestest version of yourself ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But what we want to do is teach you what we know as well. That's what we do. We teach you so that you can then take that information away and share it with your family and friends too, you know?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's like, you know, like it's all about foundations, isn't it? You know, if the foundations are good, then you can put a heavy building on top of that or something, you know, and it will withstand it. And no, absolutely.
That's it. Yeah.
Smiling's good. It really is good.
It is. You're really gonna laugh at anything.
Absolutely. I'm terrible. When I'm in restaurants, I laugh so loud. Everyone looks over. I think I do it on purpose just to get the attention, to be honest.
One of those, are you?
really loud. Yeah. Oh my God. I can't help it. I laugh a lot. So
Yeah,
you know.
Mr. Laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Mr.
But
Joyful.
it's just very loud. I don't know why it's so loud, but
Because I think once you're happy with yourself, you express yourself in the way you want to. You're not worried about someone judging you. You're not worried about how loud you are. It doesn't matter because you're content.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was younger, I was in a very negative environment. My mum was incredibly negative. She would always tell me what I wouldn't be able to achieve, and like how stupid I was and stuff like that. So it's not like I've been like joyful all my life, you know. And it's only been like the last 10 years really when I've really began to realize that I am a beautiful manifestation of existence.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like it does take time, definitely. You know, if someone's been like, you might have a client that's had such a shit life, I wouldn't expect them to, you know, to boom straight away, you know, be like, it's going to take time. Well, these things take time, and this is where the taking responsibility and commitment, you know, the commitment to yourself, so important. And there's so much stuff out there now as well, Kate, isn't there, on YouTube? You know, there's some amazing people you can watch that can, you know, inspire you and maybe touch you to make, you know, to go further in those changes within yourself.
There's people everywhere, and I think some, you know, I mean, YouTube is great for that, for motivation and for, you know, focusing down on what the real issue is. Absolutely. That I think there's, when people go to places like Facebook or Instagram, you are bombarded with so many different coaches and therapists and everything else. It's very confusing. There's nowhere to turn. But YouTube, when you've got like a chat like this, you know, with what you do, Free the Mind UK, it's fantastic because you're letting people know what they can expect with certain therapies.
Absolutely.
Which is great. And one therapist may not, you may not think you've got any connection with them, but there's another one on a video a couple down that you know you certainly have. So
yeah, that's a good point actually, because you know sometimes a client's gonna go and see you and they may well not connect with you. And it may well be an unconscious thing. You might have the same nose as somebody that bullied them at school. Yeah, it's true though, you know.
Yeah, and I doubt anyone's got one like this.
But you know what I mean, though.
I used to be called Concord at school.
Did you really?
Yeah, how dare they? And you know what? There's something back from childhood.
Yeah.
That even that every now and again, I do go, oh my God, your nose is massive, Kate. Your nose is massive. Why have you got such a massive nose? And then the Concord pops up into my head. Or Big Nose Kate. There's a place in Arizona called Big Nose Kate's Saloon.
Really? Oh my God.
Right. And my sister went there, and she's this is years ago, and she got some of the napkins that had it written on there and brought them back, and I was like, oh my God, you know, like no need to rub it in.
Kate? Was you triggered?
Yeah, so, and it used to really trigger me. But then, you know, years later, I've done the work on myself and stuff, and it isn't a problem anymore. I never really, you know, I laugh about it now because I had such an issue with it. I never wanted my photo taken to the side. I don't like my photo taken anyway. But, you know, we just got to live, haven't we? We just got to be who we are. And we look like we do for a reason, you know.
It's again, I had a similar situation as you know, because my self-esteem was like, it couldn't get any lower, you know. I lacked so much self-confidence, you know. I saw myself as this ugly man who had no power, who was, you know, all these awful things. It wasn't a great place to be, if you see what I mean. And it just shows you what you can do in your life, how you can turn it around, you know. Within yourself. And I think it's important as well. So, like, as a therapist, to actually live to some extent what you're teaching, you know, or what you're trying to show them or help them with, you know, and like somewhat, you know, being on the journey yourself, you know, so like yourself with your, you know,
the same with you, you know,
no, absolutely,
what we've been through, we can help others with, you know, as well. So I mean, that's a great thing. I did today have a client, and that was alcohol and cocaine addiction. You know, I'm not a rehab, I'm not trained in that stuff, but I have the experience. I signpost that person in the right direction and teach them what I know. You know,
no, absolutely.
And kick them up the backside, because I'm one of those one of those therapists.
You don't have no messing about, Kate. Is that right?
Stop messing me around. Stop messing me around. Let's get on with this.
That's good as well, because like there's probably a lot of wishy-washy. Sorry to any therapists that may be this way, but there's probably a lot of wishy-washy therapists out there where the client almost controls the sessions, you know, because like I do hear about this, and I think it's important that you do, you know, firm but fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, you want to help them, don't you?
Yeah, I know. What I do love about the integral eye movement therapy and the NLP is that we do not need to know all the content. We don't need to know the story about your life. We really don't need to know that. We could just work with your memories, your emotions, and just a short chat.
No, this is the beauty of it. It's because I think that puts a lot of people off, that they've got to, you know, divulge sensitive information to the therapist. But like there's lots of techniques now like that we do ourselves, that like you just said, you don't have to do that, and it's incredible, you know, like just close your eyes and think about that situation, and you don't have to tell me what it is, you know. It's like
and then we do our magic.
Absolutely. And when oh God, our trainer, I always forget his name. What was our trainer's name? Matt. When Matt was doing the training, he was saying, you know, I'm not here really to give help and support, specifically with IEMT. You know, it was like, I'm not wasting any time. I'm here to help you with this thing, and you know, we need to focus on the actual problem. I think that's what he says, isn't it? And I don't know. It gave me the impression it streamlines the session so you can help that person in the most possible way. Obviously, if you're doing coaching, it's different because it's sort of help and support. And stuff. But I did like that aspect of it, and the fact that I mean, it's more than moving the eyes.
It is. Yeah.
I actually got Sonia's book. You know Sonia. She's one of the trainers. Have you got it? Have you got her book?
Yeah, this is what we do, guys.
Yeah, that's what I've got. It only come the other day.
Amongst other things, because we are multi-talented.
It is. You know, I'm enjoying it. First 3 chapters are quite full on. You know, sort of scientifically sort of technical words and stuff.
Slowly, we're like that.
It goes right over my head. Absolutely.
I'll Google that word.
I love it. So Kate, if people want to get hold of you, they can go. Is that the right address I put on Cheltenham and
and even though it's Cheltenham, I do work online as well. So, but I
Okay,
started out as that, and that's what it's remained. But yeah, and I've got a Facebook group, even though I don't post on Facebook a lot. I post in the group, and then obviously TikTok.
So what's your group called then?
From self-destruct to self-love.
Yeah.
But what I can do, Dave, is give you my Linktree link, and that's got everything on it.
But what's that though? From self-destruct to what?
Self-love.
Oh, I like that. That's really good. So we'll just put that. Oh, I probably spelt it wrong. Look at that. Bet you I spelt it wrong. No. From self-destruct to self-love, and this is Kate's Facebook group. Obviously, they'd have to go to your sort of your page to get onto that, wouldn't they? So if they put that in Facebook, would they come across it then?
Yeah, we come across a group with a blue image, and then just join up, guys. And every Monday night at 7 p.m. I do a support call. So, and it's free, and it's for an hour, and it's in Facebook rooms, and people just come on and chat, and I help out for free.
I didn't know that. So you do like a live in a sense, like this.
Yeah. And we're, so it's just a general chat, and it could just be because you're lonely and you've got no one to talk to. It doesn't matter.
Lovely. Yeah.
It's an hour a week, and
I'll have to come on and come and check it out. Definitely. And I'm going to put Kate's TikTok channel up here again. So anyone that watches this on the recording or is watching it now live, go check out Kate's TikTok channel, Kate May 71, and give her a follow, because the more followers, the better, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
And if you want to give me a follow, you can at Freedom Mind UK.
Yeah, and you could also check Dave out on TikTok.
Hey,
on there.
Yeah.
So yes, fantastic.
No, absolutely. What else have we got here? This is. It's okay to put this on, is it, Kate? Your contact details where people can call you if they want to have a session with you.
Yes, definitely.
So if you want to chat, because I know Kate does like a 20-30 minute discovery call, have a chat, free chat with Kate, and you can call her on that number and have a chat with her, and it'd be well worth booking a session with her. Highly recommended.
Thank you very much.
And
so do you, Dave. I highly recommend Dave too.
Well, I just like to see people joyful and smiling. If I can help someone be like, do that or whatever.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We've done the work on ourselves, and it's something we're passionate about doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Why not?
And some of the techniques we use some of the NLP techniques are quite theatrical and quite interesting, like where, the spinning the energy technique one and turning it back the other way, and, what color's this feeling, and change it to your favorite color, make it really small, whatever, because they often see it really big, don't they? Actually, do you ever use the rewind technique or the fastphobia cure? It is where they're in the cinema. Because I did a course with Barry. Remember Barry was on?
That's when I co-hosted with you, isn't it, Barry?
Yeah. We're going to get him back on again. I'll get you on again.
No, I don't think he liked me on there.
Why not?
I was like, oh wow, Barry.
Brilliant.
He's the greatest teacher of NLP.
Really good, really, really good. Anyway, I recently did one of his courses, fear and phobia one, and he does talk about the rewind technique. A guy called David Muss renamed it rewind technique. I think Barry's a bit pissed about it because he's just sort of like redesigned an existing technique that belonged to somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But anyway, the point of that technique, like they normally teach that you're in a cinema, and you've got a big screen, and the idea is that you're sat in the audience, so you're in there on your own looking at the big screen, and you see your situation on the screen, but you're not in it because you're sat watching yourself. It's like watching someone on a roller coaster rather than being on it, that feeling different in it. What Barry says, why they get them to see a big, massive screen on that technique, I'll never know. Reduce the screen, make it small. So that's something I've introduced now. So the screen will be like the size of like a credit card.
Yeah, I think that I totally get that, actually.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, when we're clients, people in general.
Yeah.
Not everyone can visualize, not everyone can do that sort of thing. Imagine this, imagine that.
Exactly.
It's in NLP, you've got, or in life, you have visual people, you have audio people, it goes on and on and on.
It does.
And we all perceive things so differently. And so not everybody can do that sort of thing. Some people can't.
You're right.
They just can't do it. So every client is different. So you've got to find, but even when you're good at visualizing, trying to imagine a great big screen playing a movie and then rewind it. It's all a little bit, it's a lot to take on.
It's quite a tricky technique, actually, to explain, because they're sat in the chair watching the screen, and then just before it rewinds, they've got to imagine they're in the screen and feel like they're going backwards, rewinding, it's like, oh my God. But saying that, I had a lot of success with that technique, but it's like IEMT. I did it with the client not long ago, and it didn't work. And I was like, oh my God, I was with the client. I went, right, that's that one gone then. You know what I mean?
Dave, I had that today. And it's the first time ever. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God. What shall I do now? I almost had a little panic. And I had to slow myself down.
Yeah.
Give a bit of silence to myself.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then go, what are you going to do now? But I was shocked because it was the first time that it hadn't worked. And I thought, well, I didn't do it wrong. I've done everything the correct way.
Yeah,
I wasn't just reading it out and then
No, absolutely. It's interesting because I did a talk in front of about 80 people. I think I told you about it when I spoke to you last time, and I basically hypnotized the whole audience just so they could see what it was like to experience, a state of trance, whatever. And then I got someone up, an individual put their hand up to come up on the stage and do some IEMT. And but it worked like a dream. She was shocked. I could hear the audience going, little murmurs,
Brilliant.
But it could have all gone wrong, because you just never know. And I remember saying, well, I hope this works now, which probably isn't a positive thing to say as your client sitting in a chair,
Yeah.
But it does happen. One of the things, like you notice anyway, is I always say to them, did you hold on to that thought while I was doing the eye movements? And a couple of people have said, no, I didn't. And I was like, because obviously it's like EFT when you do the setup. Even though I feel really stressful, you're telling the brain there's a problem, and then you tap points as you mention that problem. So you're like reminding the brain you want to sort this out. And I'm guessing it's a similar thing. They've got to be focused on whatever's troubling them as you do the eye movements, so that it can be, sorted out and put into the right places. Anyway,
and I'm sure as well, certain people, maybe they just can't focus on that when there's so much going on,
Yeah.
So
And also, I was going to interrupting you, but also the unconscious, subconscious, from my experience, can be a little bugger at times, because you know
absolutely,
it has its own, like, say someone's got a situation in their life and it's been with them for a long time. I do believe there's different parts of us, and that there's probably that part actually is like, no, bugger you, I'm not going to let you dissolve me. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
at play as well at times. So
absolutely. It's a stubborn old program that just
yeah,
won't open up to have the update.
exactly. So then that's when you've got to become the mediator in it, and do like deals. It's
Yeah,
quite interesting, actually. It's a
work with
great
the two
job. Great
parts.
job we do. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
Yeah,
so you're mediator between the part that doesn't want to, you know, like someone who wants to stop smoking. There's a part of them that doesn't want to stop, and there's a part that does, and there's a conflict, and because of that conflict, you can have, you know, this situation,
yeah.
and you can, you know,
Conflict
be the
resolution.
resolution person or whatever it is. Yeah. I think what we do is fantastic. You know,
Yeah,
it beats. I mean, like yourself, I also do have another job because, you know, it does take a bit of time to develop your practice. You
yeah,
know, it can take a
absolutely. Yeah,
number of years. So I do have another job besides what I do. Um,
yeah, I do.
which lucky enough I enjoy, which is great. But when we're working in that field, helping people, it's so satisfying, especially when you actually really do make a difference to someone's life.
Yeah. I
Definitely.
find as well that when I'm doing my other job in
Yeah.
construction, which
Yeah.
I love it. So that's another thing. I think even, you know, I know that even if I got inundated with a load of clients, I still want to go and do my construction job. I love it, you know. And I'm always helping people when I'm doing that too.
I'm
So
exactly the same. Exactly the same. The amount of people I've done healing. I mean, like I'm in floor care, clean carpets commercially, and I do like polishing marble floors and all that sort of stuff. And I
yeah,
do a lot of work in people's houses. The amount of people that I've done techniques on, you know, because obviously being a people person, get chatting to the customer, and they're telling you some of the situations in your life. And well, actually, you know, it's
yeah,
your
I can
opportunity
help
to
you.
have a free 20-minute session here, because I'd like to help you, because, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
So you're leaving your magic all around the country, Dave. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think we've come to the end of our chat, Kate. It's been amazing. I'd like you to stay on for a few minutes after we go off live.
Yeah,
Just like
before
to
I go and
remind
have a mince
everybody,
pie.
hey, yeah, it'll be mince pie time soon, when it Christmas coming up. But I wanted to remind people that, you know, if you get chance, if you watch this on YouTube or Facebook, and you end up going to the YouTube channel, to give us to subscribe to the channel, because it really does help. Definitely helps. And share the videos. You know, there might be someone, you know, where the videos can, you know, maybe put someone on the right track or help them. So yeah, I'd ask people to share and like and subscribe to the channel. Freedom Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. Fantastic. You know, we have great guests on, like Kate, and yeah, it's really cool. So to everybody watching, and those that will be watching on the recording, thanks for tuning in. And I'm sure, well, I do, I wish you well, and I'm sure Kate does too.
I
So
certainly
thank
do.
you. Excellent. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Dave.
much. Woohoo!